Get into it. Coach Colin here. We got some odd things happening in CNN. CNN and Fox are in full agreement on something. How wild is that? Sanjay Gupta, doctor for CNN, is urging Joe Biden to get a cognitive test, to get tested to see what's going on, degenerative, mental, whatever it might be, Alzheimer's, dementia. He's urging Biden to go and get checked for something. Now I'm going to be showing you that clip. Then Joe Biden's response to everybody saying that he needs to step aside for Kamala Harris or whoever. And then I'm going to be showing you an interview that he recently did. Then I'm going to be showing you something that happened just hours before the interview. I can't wait. Okay. And then I'm going to show you something that I'm just going to call sharp as a tack. Disrespectful words in 2024. Disrespectful words. Let's get into it. Let's start here.
President Biden departed for that rally in Madison, Wisconsin. You see him there. It was just a little bit ago, and he stepped out of the beast. He declared he could beat Donald Trump. The only part about that is the New York Times Siena poll disagrees. The Wall Street Journal poll disagrees. Heck, his own Biden super PAC disagrees because they leaked their polling to the New York Times showing President Biden right there trailing in New Mexico, New Hampshire, and Virginia. So the facts aren't on his side there, expressing confidence no less as he heads off to the biggest interview of his life. Well, that incredible statement comes just hours after CNN's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, said that Biden needs to get a cognitive test.
First of all, this is not a political essay. It's a medical one. I think that the question really being raised is, have we been looking at episodes, intermittent episodes, or is this reflective of some sort of deeper underlying condition? If you take a look, slow response time, I think we saw that, sort of in a sustained fashion. Definitive word retrieval mix-ups, rambling, sometimes confused speech, reduced voice volume as well, and reduced facial movements. And these things can all be connected. We often think of cognition simply being memory, but if someone has an underlying movement disorder, for example, that can actually affect cognition in the sense that people may have more flattened affect, face, and not really be speaking as quickly or as loudly. Now, if he were my patient, if he were my dad, frankly, I would want to get more testing done, cognitive testing and more detailed movement disorder testing as well.
Cheryl, he said if it were my dad, I would want a cognitive test. And it makes you wonder, has Joe Biden asked for this? Has Hunter Biden asked for this? Has anyone in the family?
I'm the daughter of someone that is going through this right now. I will tell you this. I would do anything for my mother, but the first thing that I did was I wanted a diagnosis and I wanted clarity. And I'm still working on that to this day, and it's heartbreaking. That's what you do as a child for your parents. What they're doing right now is wrong. It is sad to watch. Hunter Biden sitting there in all these meetings, help your father and convince him that he needs to get a correct diagnosis, which he obviously does not have. Is it vascular dementia? I know a lot about this topic. Is it age-related dementia? Is it early onset Alzheimer's? You need to have a correct diagnosis to treat the person. Yeah. It is cruel to not get a correct diagnosis for this meeting.
Absolutely. And, my heart breaks for the family. We all want our president to be healthy. The problem is the national security implications. The problem is the economist question. If you can't complete a sentence about Medicare, should you be holding the nuclear football? It's a good question. But, Joe, when you think about this, we've been told that he runs faster than his younger aides who can't keep up, that he's healthier than everyone around him. So then why not take the test?
Right. That would solve the problem, right? Or why not do the press conference that we talked about before? And remember the media narrative before that debate that actually in private, Joe Biden's really like John Nash, right? He's doing quadratic equations. He's explaining how the flux capacitor works and 1.21 gigawatts. So this whole narrative just has completely blown up at this point. But to the national security implications, when you consider that the world is on fire right now.
This guy, it went from tear jerking, like this is happening to my mother, this guy's like Joe Biden solving, gigawatts in private. Oh my gosh. But that was the narrative. The narrative was he is sharp, He is sharp. He is sharp. And we're going to go over that in a minute because somebody made an incredible compilation. If you're on X, I want you to follow this person, not this person that's on the screen right now. Although it could be kind of fun to actually follow this person as well. This is what Joe Biden had to say to everybody saying all these things. This tweet actually just came out a couple of hours ago. He said, let me be as clear as I can. I am the sitting president of the United States. I am the nominee of the Democratic Party. I am staying in this race. There you go. So, first thing somebody said, how are you tweeting this when you're on stage in Wisconsin right now? Which intern wrote this? Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. It's true. It's true. A lot of tweets seem to be coming out from Joe Biden as he as he's on stage. He's doing things and these tweets come out. It's sad. You know, say what you want about Trump, right? A lot of people didn't like his tweets. I personally absolutely loved them, and I hope that he comes back to tweeting soon. But you knew he was doing it himself. You knew every single time. You said, oh gosh, this guy. No one ever said, I wonder what intern wrote that. Everybody knew that when Trump tweeted something, it was like, oh God, he for sure said that just now. Now, what people are talking about, what Fox News was just talking about when they said he was on a plane and he's heading to one of the most important interviews of his life, this is a segment from that interview where he's actually asked about the debates and if this is an episode or if this was just a bad night. And of course, it was just a bad night, folks. Let's listen in.
You and your team have said you had a bad night. But your friend Nancy Pelosi actually framed the question that I think is on the minds of millions of Americans. Was this a bad episode or the sign of a more serious condition?
It was a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted. I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing, and I had a bad night.
You know, you say you were exhausted, and I know you've said that before as well, but you came, and you did have a tough month, but you came home from Europe about 11 or 12 days before the debate, spent 6 days in Camp David. Why wasn't that enough rest time, enough recovery time?
Because I was sick. I was feeling terrible. Matter of fact, the docs with me, I asked them if they did a COVID test because they were trying to figure out what was wrong. They did a test to see whether or not I had some infection, a virus. I didn't. They just had a really bad cold.
And did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
Well, what I want to get at is what were you experiencing as you were going through the debate? Did you know how badly it was going?
Yeah, look. The whole way I prepared, nobody's fault, mine. Nobody's fault but mine. I prepared what I usually would do, sitting down, as I did come back with foreign leaders or the National Security Council, for explicit detail. And I realized about partway through that, I get quoted, the New York Times had me down at 10 points before the debate, 9 now, or whatever the hell it is. The fact of the matter is that what I looked at is that he also lied 28 times. The way the debate ran, not my fault, nobody else's fault. No one else's fault.
But it seemed like you were having trouble from the first question in, even before he spoke.
Well, I just had a bad night.
Man, you got to ask him that question at the end. Come on, leave this guy alone. It's just a bad night. And that night has lasted about 5 years. But, the nights last a long time sometimes. And, this has been a very long night. It's been almost 10 years. But, yeah, man, this is a very important time for him. The fact that he just got through that interview the way that he did. And here's the thing. We've already learned from Sage Steele that when he's doing interviews like this, it's entirely scripted. There's nothing off the cuff. The interviewer is not allowed to ask anything that is even remotely off script, everything to a T, and his answers are just going to be what they are and you just move on. But I don't know. This is obviously something going on. Something's been going on for a long time. A very long time. And my question, as I'm watching this, I'm like, hey, why not give him steroids? You know, like for me, when it comes to like TRT, when I hit 42, I'm jacking up. You kidding me? Oh, I'm going to be doing the podcast shirtless every single day. Are you kidding me? Oh, you wait. I'm going to be in CrossFit competitions. What? Oh my God. The logo is just going to be me shirtless. All day I'm going to be doing it. The podcast is just going to be me working out. That's all it's going to be. It's just me doing bench press, microphone in my face. Just that's it. Of course. So this guy's 80 something. Why not just jack him up with some stuff, you know? I don't know. Maybe you can't at that age. Maybe at that age, you got to be really careful of what you actually put into your body and how high your levels are and everything. I don't know. But the thing about that is just hours before, he's saying it's just an episode, but just hours before this interview, or maybe 20 hours, maybe 25 hours or 24 hours before that interview, he was seen doing this.
You got me, man. I'm not going anywhere. All right. All right, I'll come back out when they open the gate, okay? Thank you. One last thing. You know, I used to think when I was a senator, there were always congestion on the highways. There's no congestion anymore. None. Regarding the highway, there's no congestion. And so the way they get me to stop talking, they'll say, we just shut down all the roads, Mr. President. You're going to lose all the votes if you don't get in. But anyway, I'll be back out. Thank you. I love you. Thank you.
What? What'd he say? Oh, we just shut down the road. That's what they tell me. You know, there's no congestion anymore. I remember when I was a senator, and, you know, there was no congestion on the roads. And, you know, you had the first Ford come out, and that was amazing, you know, and it would drive down the road. Not too many people had cars back then. I myself still had a Chariot. Dad didn't want to give up the Chariot. So we're riding down the street in the Chariot, and we're seeing these automobiles. That's what they called them back then. Just going right past us. What are you talking about? What is he talking about? Oh, man. Do you know how much sadder this would be? How sad would it be if he was like a great president? If he was an incredible president? Think about how sad this would be. Every single scene that we've seen would be tear-jerking, you know? Luckily, he just opened up the border and just let 15 million people stream in, some of them on the terrorist watch list. Lucky for us, that's what he did his first week in office. Because if he was just a great president, this would be heartbreaking to see. It would be heartbreaking. You'd be sad. I don't care how you feel about him. If he was a great president, you'd be torn up every time you seen him. But let's go to the last clip. This gentleman points out something so good. And again, if you're not subscribed to this podcast, it's called the All In Podcast. They're going to show something, and then I'm going to show you a compilation made by someone you need to follow if you're on X. I don't know the guy, but I just love his work. Let's get into it.
Did you guys see this clip, by the way? 6 minutes of 100 spokespeople and proxies. And they all had the same thing to say about President Biden, which is he is sharp as a tack.
Sharp as a tack?
Which end of the tack? The round part?
This is a man who is sharp.
This is a very sharp president.
And the people that I've talked to say he's as sharp as a tack. He's fine.
They say he's sharp. He was sharp.
He's sharp as a tack. If I asked 100 people on the street, what do you think of Elon Musk? You'd have 100 different statements. There'd be a general theme, but you would not have even 50 people repeat the exact same words. And so you have this funny situation where 100 different people were basically saying the exact same talking point. So it's not even a point of view. It was just something that they were told to say by somebody else. And that, to your point, Sachs, is the real issue, which is that you don't really have an honest media here. And so there is no check and balance on power right now. Did you guys see this clip, by the way?
So just in case they don't let me play this, because I noticed that music sounds a little familiar, so they might copyright the music. Basically, there is a compilation of 100 different people, mainstream media, all sorts of talking heads. It might not be 100, but there is a considerable amount of people from every mainstream news station, except for Fox, saying Biden is as sharp as a tack. All of them Mockingbird style, just all of them with that same talking point. He's sharp. He's sharp. I was in a room with him. He was sharp. He's a sharp man, sharp as a tack. They're all saying that exact thing. And I want to show you the compilation just in case it doesn't play and it's just, I say, here it is, and then all of a sudden it just cuts to me again. It's because they make me trim it out. But just so you know, that is what it is. And just in case you actually don't get to see it, I just want you to know this is the gentleman who made it. His name is Matt. I have no idea how to say that last name. Orfala, but it's at 0RF. This guy makes some great compilations. They're absolutely hilarious. This is one of them. Let's get into it. If you can't see it, please jump on X, find this gentleman again, at 0RF. Let's go.
Version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever.
He is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America.
This is a man who is sharp, who is on top of his game, who knows what's going on.
He's smart. He's on his game.
His mental acuity is great.
This is a very sharp president.
And the people that I've talked to say he's as sharp as a tack. He's fine.
They say he's sharp.
There's not a problem. He was sharp.
He was sharper than anyone I've spoken to.
The president is sharp and he is tireless. He is sharp
as ever.
And he's fine. All this right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity has declined is wrong.
His brain is good. He's still great.
He is sharp in meetings.
I believe the people who say that behind closed doors, Joe Biden remains sharp.
In meetings, Joe Biden is sharp.
He's sharp. He's fit.
There is nothing to these challenges, these suggestions that somehow he's not sharp. He's sharp as a tack.
Making sure that we're able to make every single.
This goes on for 6 minutes. 6 minutes. People just calling him sharp. It's crazy.
If you edit it in such a way, you can make it appear that he fits this narrative, that he is slow, that he is wandering off.
I got my handicap, which when I was 8.
Good physical and cognitive health.
Joe Biden, sharp as a tack.
The president was sharp as a tack.
The president's very sharp because he is so sharp and he's on top of everything.
I guess it's always best to end it on Joe Scarborough saying things like that. But, it just goes to show, it's very interesting to see what's going on. Hundreds of people. And what that man said in the All In podcast, what he said about Elon Musk and how you wouldn't even get 50 people that would say the same thing. But yet in the mainstream media and politics, Democrats and the mainstream media talking heads all have the same talking point. 50 of them easy. Everybody saying sharp. It makes no sense unless you put into the equation that they're lying. And after seeing the debate, I think we all know that they were. So this is a very interesting episode. We have a doctor who is saying that he needs a cognitive exam. We have him saying that he refuses to pull out of the election. We have people questioning him. He's saying it was just a bad day. He's showing signs of it again just hours before he's saying it's just a bad day. And then we have the mainstream media saying that he is sharp. But let me just say this one point. This is the most valuable point of this episode. If somebody calls me sharp as a tack, we're going outside because you're not going to disrespect me like that. I'm telling you, people, this year, those are words of disrespect. Don't let it slide by. Don't let anyone disrespect you like that. Don't let anyone disrespect you like that. If someone looks at you and says, "Hey, you're sharp as a tack," you gotta be like, "Hey, what do you mean by that? What are you trying to say about me?" You gotta call them out. Don't let anybody call you sharp as a tack. Don't do that. Don't let them say that about you. You kidding me right now? You say that about me, we're going outside. That's it. We're stepping outside because you just said I'm sharp as a tack. And I want to know what you mean by that. I want to know what you're trying to say right now. If you take anything from this episode, please don't let people call you sharp as a tack. Okay, it's disrespect in 2024. You know it is. Anyways, guys, seriously, I don't know what's going to happen in the election. I think that in the next, it's so hard to tell because he keeps saying that he's going to be in it. But I want to say in the next 7 days, we're going to see, or at least by their convention, they're going to be announcing somebody else. And I don't know how they're going to do it because from what I've been hearing, he's the only one that can make the decision. Now, could they possibly tell him, listen, this story is going to come out if you don't do it? Are they going to coerce him that way? I don't know. I have no idea. But I could not imagine that he's the one that's going to run. But he says he is. And you know something? I kind of believe him because he's sharp as a tack. Anyways, guys, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. Other than that, I'm out.